Here to discuss the 100 years of automotive service. What's changed? Is Bob Atwood, instructor with NADA Academy. Please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning. 100 years of automotive service. What's changed? When I picked that topic last year, one of my fellow instructors laughed and said, "You're the perfect person to do that because you've been around for 100 years. Not quite. I'm only 70 years of age. I plan on working another 10, but I was around, and let's talk about some of the things that have changed in the automotive industry. First off, take a couple seconds. Please read what is on the screen. I am not going to go through that with you. It's the typical legalese that happens at every workshop. So let's take a look at some of the manufacturers that are no longer with us. Studebaker, Rambler, Hupmobile, Packard. Wow, great product. Super Bee. How many of you remember the Super Bee? That was a phenomenal vehicle. Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Studebaker again, and again the Hupmobile. Now, we do have some competition. This is the brand new Mercedes-Benz state-of-the-art facility. And then, of course, we have the Ford facility below there. Now, we do have a problem today because we are still being chased after by the independent shops. They're trying to steal our customers. But it's amazing, a lot of the articles that I'm reading right here, this says independent shops are losing the struggle to retain the customer's ongoing business as dealerships start to focus on all makes and models. Please tell me that all of you are working on all makes and models. Oh, that's right. By the way, you are, because you're all selling used cars that are not franchise specific, and they're going through your shop. So why doesn't the service advisor ask every customer one simple question before they leave? Do you have any other vehicles at home that we can service and maintain? We need to be a one-stop shop, take care of all of our customers' automotive needs. As a matter of fact, your advisor has business cards. What if the advisor hands the customer the business card and asks the customer to turn the card over, write the customer's name on the back of the card? Let's say the customer is Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson writes his name down. The advisor looks at it and says, "Mr. Johnson, do you have any other family members other than immediate or fellow employees or friends that might need their vehicle serviced? Would you please refer them to us, because here at ABC Motors, we service all makes and models." One of the most important questions you can ever ask a customer is simply this: would you refer me to someone else? If the customer hesitates or says no, what have I done wrong? Let's take it to the next level. I'm the service manager. I go into the sales department and I ask the salesman to hold up 4 business cards. Turn them on in the back. Write down 1 free lube oil and filter. The next 4 people you come in contact with could be the dry cleaner, could be the bank, could be the grocery store, could be 7-Eleven, Tim Hortons, who knows what it is. Give them a business card. Tell them they're entitled to a free oil change here at ABC Motors because we service all makes and models. Please do not give it to an existing customer. We are trying to grow our business. Now, 2 weeks later, Mrs. Smith shows up. Says, "Where's Bob Atwood?" "Right here." "Mr. Johnson said to see you, hand you the business card back." I take the card that Mr. Johnson's name is on, set it off to the side. I now write up Mrs. Smith, and I ask her, "Do you have any other vehicles at home that we could service and maintain?" I give her a business card. She writes her name on the back, and I ask her, "Do you have any other family members other than immediate or friends or fellow employees that might need their vehicle serviced? Would you please refer them here to ABC Motors because we work on all makes and models." She goes on to work. I now call Mr. Johnson on the phone. "Mr. Johnson, thank you for referring Mrs. Smith. She came in this morning. We're currently working on her car. As a token of my appreciation, I would like to give you a free oil change or a 10% discount off of future services, whatever you want to do as a company." How much money are we spending in service advertising that is ineffective? Business cards are relatively inexpensive and they're a great marketing tool. Now, part of the problems the independents have is the main reason they're struggling is due to lack of business focus by management of the independent repair facility. Now, why is that? Well, see, they're concerned about little time off. 32% of owners took 9 or fewer vacation days. They're concerned about tight financing because 33% of owners believe bank funding more difficult in the past 12 months. And some of you in this room can agree with number 3, personal risk, because 22% of owners remortgage their houses to fund their business. So some of the independents are going to be going out of business. But the ones that are going to be staying in business are going to be extremely aggressive. So let's look at 2 actual emails that I received. I can't tell you the names of the companies, but I'm going to use generic names. Here is an email from ABC Tire Company. And it said, have you received a recall? Please feel free to call us or stop by to give us a second look. You won't believe how many dealers' recommendations we see that either don't need to be done or are double our pricing. We are guaranteed to beat dealer pricing, and we have dealer-trained technicians experienced with all makes and models. Don't think the dealer knows best. We are a small chain, so we can hand-pick our technicians with the deepest experience. Plus, it's the law that you can get your maintenance performed in an independent repair shop without voiding the vehicle warranty. Yes, that's absolutely correct. And I believe the law they're talking about is Magnuson-Moss, which is a federal law that says when you buy a product, refrigerator, washer, dryer, computer, cell phone, automobile, the manufacturer cannot require you to return to the selling dealer to have that item purchased. However, the manufacturers can, and thank goodness automobile manufacturers do, require that the products used to service that equipment meet minimum standards. I can assure you, your parts department and service department are using the required items to service that equipment. And let me give you an example. I want you to think back 4 model years. How many different oils are being used in the cars that you're selling today? 3, 4, some of you 5 different oils. So when that customer goes to an independent repair facility to have the car serviced, how do they know if the proper oil is being put in that vehicle? And I know service managers, customers have brought cars in for warranty service. They look on the computer, that car had never been in your service department. So the first question the customer asks is, do you have your maintenance receipts? Was I supposed to save those? Yes. Because the service manager is thinking, how do I know whether or not the products used to service this vehicle didn't cause the warranty issue? Now, here's another email that really drives me crazy. Too busy to bring your car in for service? Let us do it. Valet Car Care is your first full-service, on-demand auto repair platform providing car care on your schedule. Check out what local TV news had to say about our new service and how we're helping residents take the hassle out of car care. And there was a little clip in there that I could go to see the the TV commercial that it was a story done by one of the local TV stations, but I couldn't put it in this presentation. So what do? As a consumer, I pay this company $15. They will bring a loaner car to my house or place of employment. We exchange keys. I give them the keys to my car. They take my car and they service it. I drive the loaner till my car is returned. They return, they exchange the keys, and during that process, I can track the car and receive status updates during the valet process. Now see, that bothers me because for years, automobile dealers, we had a distinct advantage. We had loaner cars. Independent shops didn't have loaner cars. But now this business, and by the way, they have 13 locations. 13 locations providing loaner cars. And by the way, they're open 7 days a week. So it gives us something to think about and maybe look at how we're currently running our service departments. Now, one of the advantages I believe we have over independents is the changing technology on today's automobiles. How many computers are in today's automobiles? Do independents have the equipment, training, and knowledge to work on today's computerized system? Well, I don't believe so. Now, I know you've heard this a million times. The vehicles that we're selling today have more computerized equipment on them than was on the Apollo spacecraft that landed on the moon. Let me take you back to July 1979. My wife and I are sitting there on a living room sofa, watching the lunar lander touch down on the moon's surface. Two astronauts got out, bounced around for a while, got back into a capsule, came back to Earth in a capsule using a DOS system that was 2 gig. By the way, how many gig is your cell phone? I just read a report that scares me to death. It was cyber security for today's automobiles. In the article, they said right now today, there are 100 million lines of code in an automobile. More than the F-35 jet fighter, more than the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. And our customers don't have a clue what they're driving. And it's up to us to educate them every time they come in for service. Again, I'm not going to go through all these, but you're familiar with most of these computers that are on today's automobiles, and I could probably go on 5 or 6 additional slides, but this is just a random sampling. Again, when it comes to technician considerations, computer diagnostic abilities, computer program abilities, ASE certification, MAC AC certification, EPA compliant, and vehicle specific training. Less than 1 in 3 service visits are to a dealership. Now, why is that? 11% go to tire stores, 14% go to quick lubes, 25% general repair service stations, and 30% to dealerships. Could it be that our hours of operation are not convenient? How many in this room do your service hours exceed sales? Yeah, I didn't think so. Does anybody have Sunday service? Oh, okay. How many of you are selling cars on Sunday? Oh, about 10 of you. Great. Now, do you have Sunday service? No? Okay. Now, be honest with me. How many of you are receiving phone calls on Sunday asking if service is open? I'm glad to see every hand went up. Now think about that. That tells me your customers want to service with you, but you aren't convenient. When are we going to realize that we need to step up and take care of our customer? We are in a people business, selling and servicing automobiles. And we've got to be open for their convenience. I would love to have you open from 7 in the morning until 9 at night, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 on Saturday, 10 to 6 on Sunday. Now, I know some of you are adamant about not being open on Sunday, but I'm here to tell you the independents are open 7 days a week, and they're stealing your customer. And by the way, it is your customer, correct? You didn't sell them the automobile? How dare you allow your customer to go somewhere else for service? Study shows estimates are top concern for service appointments. Only 30% of service visits take place in a dealership because customers believe dealership service departments are more expensive than independent repair shops. What if I took an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper? Down the left-hand side, I listed the non-dealer competitors: Goodyear, Firestone, Canadian Tire, Cal Tire, Jiffy Lube, Bob's Garage. Across the top, I listed oil change, tire rotation, tire balance, AC service, front brake job, and just picked up the phone and called the independents. Told them I had a car that was out of warranty, I'm considering buying it. What are my future maintenance costs going to be? Then when you get all those numbers, add them up, divided by the number of stores you called, then ask your service manager, what do we charge here to do this work? And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see that what we charge is a lot less than the independents, but nobody knows that. Do you realize that we do 3 additional things the independents can't do? When we work on our customers' cars in a dealership, we use original equipment parts installed by factory-trained technicians that we stand behind with a warranty. Now, what if I took this and put it on a 4x8 whiteboard, hung it in the service drive? Poster size in F&I, landscape picture frame on every salesman's desk, letting the public know that not only are we competitive in the marketplace, but when you have your vehicle serviced here at the dealership, We use original equipment parts installed by factory-trained technicians that we stand behind with a warranty. That is why you get the best service at the dealership. The average cost of routine maintenance at a dealership is comparable to third-party providers, but we don't dispel that myth that dealerships are high-priced. We need to put this information in front of the customer. Estimates are top concern for service appointments. Providing cost estimates during the scheduling process can alleviate the misperception of having higher costs, create a transparent and trustworthy customer experience, increase the odds of winning more service appointments. Please tell me that when customers call in and ask for a price, you have a parts and labor pricing guide, so I have pricing consistency when I quote jobs to customers, and if I have multiple advisors, they're not quoting multiple prices. Because I believe transparency is a way for dealers to deliver high quality ownership experience that keeps customers coming back to the service drive. It's all about transparency. And think about this, when that customer pulls in your service drive, one of three things are going to happen. They're either going to be wowed, neutral, or dissatisfied. And if they're neutral or dissatisfied, chances are they're never coming back. So what is the advisor doing to wow that customer every time they come into service? The service advisor, I believe, is the most important person in a dealership, yet they are the least trained. The function of the advisor is to be the intermediary between the customer and the technician. Their primary job is to make the customer feel at ease, feel comfortable, and not create an adversarial relationship with the customer. Because if I can build a rapport, establish a relationship, and gain the customer's trust, and make the customer feel at ease, I have done my job. Now, introduction to service at time of sales is most important. 41% of customers were introduced to the service department at time of purchase. 53% of those customers said it was a factor when deciding where to take the vehicle for repairs. Oh, I'm sorry, that means your service hours would have to mirror sales. So when you deliver a car at 8:30 at night, you can introduce the customer to service. Not show them that the service department is closed and we're not convenient. Again, service hours must mirror sales. All right? 85% of customers' experience with the service department increased the likelihood of using the dealership in the future. 36% somewhat influenced, 49% greatly influenced. So that's 85%. But we've got to start that relationship at the time of the sale and introduce the customer to service. Set that first scheduled appointment. Let the customer know that we're here to take care of them. Warranty and service contracts. 78% of customers surveyed that the car was still under warranty said they were very satisfied. I will always go to them for service. A mere 18% were somewhat satisfied. Okay? So warranty is a good thing. It brings the customer back into the dealership. Now, once a car goes out of warranty, does the customer have an extended service contract? Because if they do, 86% of those customers were very satisfied. I will always go to them for service. 11% somewhat satisfied, may use them in the future. So please tell me, when you're selling a new car to a customer, when they are in the F&I office, you're bringing the extended service contract information to that customer at time of delivery. And if they decline, which is their right, do we incentivize our service advisors to sell the extended service contracts in the service drive? Because think about this, they know when that car is ready to go out of warranty. So maybe the service advisor can say, Mr. Johnson, right now everything we're doing today is under warranty, but noting the mileage on your car, probably next time you come back, you may have to pay for future repairs. But oh, by the way, you can still buy our extended service contract so long as your vehicle is still in base warranty. That's very, very simple to do. So we need to educate our advisors how to take care of that. Customer intent to return to selling dealership for service. 38% dealership did not offer first scheduled maintenance visit. Want to know why? Because the service department wasn't open when they delivered the car. On the other hand, dealership offered first scheduled maintenance. 57% of those customers returned to have the car serviced at the dealership. Criteria customers use when selecting dealerships for service work. 34%, they're concerned about the technical capabilities of the technicians. Our technicians are factory trained. Nobody knows that vehicle better than us. Quality of work is 28%, customer service is 15%, convenience is 14%. That's a little scary. Now, when we look at it from an independent standpoint, 38% are considered about work quality, 30% convenience. That's because most of the independent repair shops are open 7 days a week. And by the way, the independent shops, are they 100% absorbed? Yeah, I see heads nodding. Yeah, they are. Because if they weren't, they wouldn't be in business tomorrow. Are we 100% absorbed? No, I'm sorry to say, national average, we're at 56%, and we should be at 75%. And you know what? As soon as you extend your hours, you're going to generate more gross, helping increase your fixed absorption numbers. Now, communication is an integral part of customer choice for service. Carlisle & Company annual customer sentiment survey tracks how customers decide where to take their vehicles for service, dealer or independent. Top 10 criteria for 2015 shows that 5 of the 28 listed cannot be achieved without effective service advisor technician communication. There's got to be communication between the advisors and the technicians. That is critical. Now, let's take a look at some of the things that the customers are concerned about. Total cost is reasonable. Please tell me when your customers come in, we give them an estimate using the parts and labor pricing guide. Vehicle service is completed at promised time. I hate when I'm in a service department and I hear an advisor say to a customer, "Oh, we'll have the car ready for you today." Wow, when did that advisor become psychic? They really know the car's going to be done today? Now, what has that just happened? Now the customer has the expectation the car is going to be done today, and if it's not, they're upset. I also hate when I hear an advisor say, "I'll call you when I know something." Oh, really? When's that going to be? I'm an old Dr. Pepper kind of guy. I want the advisor to call the customer at 10, 2, and 4. Even if I don't know anything, I'm still going to call you 10, 2, and 4. Because I believe the more informed the customer is, the easier it is for them to change their schedules. Vehicle fixed correctly the first time. Well, let me just say something you're probably not going to want to hear. As technologically advanced as today's automobiles are, there's a real good chance the car is not going to be fixed right the first time. But when that customer leaves, does the customer realize we went above and beyond, bent over backwards, did everything humanly possible to try to fix that car? Or did we just blow the customer off and says, "Yeah, if you got a problem, bring it back, we'll try to fix it again"? Oh my God. But that just happened to our relationship with the customer. Upfront estimate is accurate, again, using the parts and labor pricing guides. Schedule appointments online. As a consumer, can I go online and schedule an appointment at your dealership? And can I pick the advisor I want to deal with, or does the computer system assign me to an advisor? I want the same advisor dealing with the same customer every single time, unless there's been a problem in the past. Then, of course, we will change advisors. Because remember, function of the advisor, build a rapport, establish a relationship, gain the customer's trust. I keep dealing with the same customer time and time again. We now have a friendship. I'm the friend. Dealership has a great reputation for service. Yeah, the reputation might be great, but do your service hours mirror or exceed sales? Technicians are highly qualified. One of the things that we have a distinct advantage over independents is our technicians attend factory training. Your technicians can go to school, management can go to school. If you're an independent business owner, first off, trying to find training is next to impossible, and when you find it, it really isn't that good. That's why dealership technicians are far superior to the technicians working in the independent repair shop. But do we bother to tout that to our customers? Let them know about our technicians. What is the cumulative years of experience of our technicians? Technicians are highly qualified, most definitely. Clear explanation of service performed. I believe in a service department there are three buzzwords. Trust. Does the customer trust the advisor? Second, value. Can the advisor sell value to the customer? And if a customer questions price, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a good thing, because in essence what the customer is saying is, I want to buy what you have to offer, but could you justify your price? Now, if the advisor throws his hands up and says, look, I don't set the price, take it or leave it, that's not selling value. They need to be able to say to the customer, this is our price because we use original equipment parts that have been designed specifically for your automobile, installed by factory trained technicians that we stand behind with a warranty. Before the customer leaves the dealership, what is the customer handed at the cashier's window that in the customer's mind is perceived value? That's right, the invoice. So the customer is handed the invoice, and the invoice says, customer requests 30,000 mile service, $300 labor. Oh my God, how much money did that customer spend for each letter in that sentence? But on the other hand, what if we handed a customer 3 repair orders, explaining in detail everything that was done during that 30,000 mile service? Now see, that explains value. Instead of us assuming they know what we're doing, because they don't know. We need to educate them. So please do not take shortcuts on the repair orders. Clear explanation of services performed. Again, that's the value. Oh, the third item. It was value. It was trust, value, and the third one is convenience, which I believe is the gear that drives everything in a service department. Knowledgeable and courteous staff. When an advisor asks a customer a question, they do not want to hear, I don't know. If the advisor doesn't know, then who does? This is a dealership. We should always have answers for our customers and not just tell them you don't know. Treats customer fairly. Estimated cost is accurate. And again, it's going to be accurate if we use a parts and labor pricing guide. So we're not guessing, or we don't say to the customer, I'll have to call the parts department and get a parts price and look up the labor in the book. No, parts and labor pricing guide, it's there. All right? Market trends. 5 years, our customer retention begins to drop off. Now, why is that? Well, because usually the car begins to go out of warranty, correct? Unless, of course, there is an extended service contract. And quite honestly, if I can get that customer coming in early in the infancy of that ownership, year 1, year 2, beginning to build a relationship with that customer, now as the car becomes aged, that customer is going to continue to visit with us and have the car repaired. And by the way, you may not know this, average age of a car on the road today is 11.5 years. People are keeping vehicles longer. And I'm here to tell you, it is cheaper to maintain a vehicle than it is to repair a vehicle. So again, is the advisor educating the customer every time they come in as far as the proper care and maintenance of that vehicle to get it to last? How do dealers best serve 3 or 4 customers needing vehicle serviced? Well, they need oil changes, cooling system issues, brake issues. Check engine light is on. Please tell me when a customer comes in with a check engine light on, we check it for free. It's a PO 147. Oh, I'm sorry, you want me to go further? No, that's when you're going to pay for diagnostics. I can go to any independent parts house, hand them my driver's license. They will hand me a diagnostic equipment. I can go out, plug it into my ALDL connector. It will give me a code. But unless I have a shop manual, I cannot go any further. So please do not charge to pull the code. Step right up, pull the code, and then if the customer wants to go further, we can establish a diagnostic rate. Air filters need to be changed. Belts need to be changed. Hoses need to be changed. 11% of battery cables and clamps needed maintenance. 20% had dirty or leaking coolant. 18% had an inadequate level of brake fluid. 13% needed headlights replaced. Have you seen the expression on customers' faces these days when you need a headlight put in, you tell them it's $100 labor? $100 labor? Are you kidding me? All you got to do is reach in there, unplug the socket, take it out, put a new bulb in, and plug it back in. Really? Let me give you the tools. See if you can fix it. Today's cars, you got to take the front bumper off, remove the inner fender, just to replace a light bulb. These cars are extremely complex. 10% of batteries had not been held down properly, and 15% of the vehicles needed wiper blades. What's the average life of a wiper blade in today's automobiles? 6 months. And when do customers realize they need wiper blades? Oh, that's right, it's raining and they turn them on and they can't see. So they say, gee, I better make an appointment at the dealership and bring it in for service. Wrong. They go wherever they can to get that wiper blade installed. Your advisor doing a walk around of the car takes 2 seconds to reach over, pick up the arm, and watch the rubber fall off. Very easy upsell. Providing service tips to dealerships, social media could boost dealers' online reputation and bring service revenue. In the class I teach in the academy, I have the students go on Google and I ask them to type in 2 words, brake, B-R-A-K-E, job, J-O-B. And I ask them to count how many pages they have to go through before they find a dealership. Usually 5 or 6 pages. Why is that? I guarantee if we go to your dealership website today, you're going to see 97% of your website is dedicated to the sales of new and used automobiles. I know you're shaking your heads, I can see it. What happens to service? So, do we have something on our website that can bring the customer in for service? The second most frequently typed word in the Google search is coupons or discounts. Can the customer go to your website and download coupons they can use when they bring the car in for service? Do we have little videos on our website to show the customers what we do when we do a brake inspection, when we do an oil change, when we rotate tires? Customers want to be educated, because I'm here to tell you the days of the do-it-yourselfers are long gone. These cars are extremely complex. Based on the review of vehicle inspection forms from April and October of last year, 77% of vehicles needed service or parts. Did you know only 50% of service advisors walk around the vehicle? Now, let me ask the question, in your dealership, when did that become acceptable? You know what? If you have a problem with your advisors doing walk around of the customer's cars, I want you to put the following sign in your service department. Dear ABC Motors customers, if the service advisor fails to do a walk around of your vehicle at time of write-up, you will receive a free oil change. Guess who pays for the oil change? That's right, the service advisor. Because I believe goals begin behavior, consequences maintain behavior. The goal of this service department is an advisor will do a walk around of every single customer's cars. And if you don't, that's okay. You're going to pay for an oil change. Now, before you do that, please check with your wage and hour laws in your state, because I don't want you to run afoul of the laws. But there's got to be some consequence if they're not doing their job. I'm the advisor. I see the customer pulling the service drive. I spring from my chair and greet them at the car. Do an immediate walk around, looking for pre-existing damage. If I have a paintless dent repair person on staff, what a perfect opportunity to upsell work. If I have a body shop, perfect opportunity for an estimate. I then reach over, grab the wiper arm, see how the wipers are. I now sit in the car. I start the car, see if there's any lights on the dash, and write down the mileage. I was in a dealership talking to a service manager. This elderly lady pulls up. Nobody greets her at the car. She shuffles in, stands in front of the service advisor, and the first words out of the advisor's mouth, "Do you know what the mileage is? Would you get it for me, please?" And she turns around and goes back out to the car. And I turned to the service manager and I said, "What's that all about?" And he said, and I quote, "How else is the advisor going to get the mileage?" I said, "You're part of the problem here. The advisor has got to get the mileage, because if that happened to be a warranty repair and the elderly lady brought the wrong mileage in and that was put on the repair order, what have you just perpetrated?" That's right, fraud. Read your P&P manual. It doesn't have to be intentional. It can be inadvertent. It is still fraud. And the number one reason for franchise termination is fraud. So your advisor is out there at the car. I start the car. I crank the wheel hard right, hard left to look at tire wear. Why? 15% of vehicles in your service drive need tires. I hope you have a display. A green tire, which is brand new, a yellow tire, half worn, and a red tire worn out. I now grab the red tire, roll it over next to the customer's car and say, "Hey, you need tires." Why do I do that? 75%, 3 out of 4 customers purchase tires from the first person who recommends them. 75%. Now, why is that important? Because 78% of those customers return to where they bought tires to have the car serviced. How often have you heard an advisor go into the customer waiting lounge and say to the customer, "Mrs. Smith, the technician tells me your tires need to be rotated. Hey, thanks, I'll take it back to the tire store, they'll do it for free." Hopefully you step up and do it for free. Because when we have the tires off, what are we staring at? Brakes, suspension? Yeah, that's right. So make sure that we're doing the walk around of the car, bringing to the customer's attention what the needs are. Now, what's amazing, so only 50% walk around. Only 29% suggest other maintenance and repairs. By the way, please tell me that your technicians are doing a complimentary maintenance inspection on every vehicle that comes into your care and custody. And also, please tell me, well, let me ask this. When they're doing the complimentary maintenance inspection, are they videoing what they're doing? Because you know, if the customer's not there, now management can look at the video, make sure there's no improprieties, then we can send that to the customer, making upselling that much easier. And I would hope that the advisors are bringing 100% of what that car needs 100% of the time to 100% of the customers. Because if they're picking and choose what work they want to bring to the customer and they don't suggest something that's on that report, and God forbid something happens to that vehicle next week, you may be hearing, "Will the defendant please rise?" Because you're now going to have a written document stating what that car needs, and we didn't bring it to the customer's attention. And I can tell you right now, I know it for a fact, right now in your service department, you have service advisors who are intentionally not upselling work for fear it's not going to get done. Because as an advisor, last thing I want is a customer screaming at me at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to pick and choose what I bring to their attention. Oh my God. That's going to create all kind of problems. All kind of problems. And you know what? If the customer's car is not going to get done today, that's okay. Have all of you read Carl Sewell's book, Customer for Life, or how to turn that one-time buyer into a lifetime customer? He states that customer is worth $517,000 over a lifetime. Wow. So if I have to step up at 3 o'clock and put the customer in a rental car, which I pay for, who cares? Because if I have a scale, it won't balance. I'm wowing the customer. I'm trying to create customer loyalty, not customer satisfaction. Satisfied customer is going to leave you in a heartbeat over price. I want customer loyalty. That's what I'm fighting for. So that means that 21% of the customers in the service lane are not being offered recommended services. They're not talking about previously declined repairs. There's no discussion of general maintenance items. And they're not going over damage estimates. What are we doing? What's your service manager doing training the service advisors? Now, did you know there's a significant increase in closing additional work during the inspection process of the vehicles actually on the lift? Now, that would mean that the customer would have to wait. But as I just said, if during the inspection process the technician is videoing what they're looking at, now we can show the customer the tag number of the car, the torn CV boot, the car that needs brakes. Now, if the customer is there and I can have them accompany me into the shop, yes, I want to bring the customer into the shop, have them stand under the car and look at what is bad. That is an easy upsell, because if the vehicle is in the air, you will see an average of a 56% closing ratio instead of a typical 37%. Because the customer can now appreciate what the needs are. Because again, the average customer doesn't have a clue what they're driving. They don't know how complex these vehicles are. So let me wind this down, if I might, and just kind of sum up what we just talked about. First off, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but again, your service hours of operation must mirror or exceed sales. I know of a dealer group in Delaware. Service is open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 9 to 3 on Sunday. Employees work 3 13-hour days. They're off 4 days in a row, and they work 1 Sunday every 6 weeks. There's another group in Toronto. They're so busy, service is open till midnight. Sales closes at 9 o'clock. Who cares? They're so busy, the shuttle service runs till midnight. There's a dealer group in Chantilly, Virginia. You're going to love this. Service is open from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. 364 days a year. And when I talked to their director of fixed operations, I said, "What day did you close?" He says, "Thanksgiving." I said, "Why not Christmas?" He says, "We talked to our employees celebrate Christmas at different times of the year." I said, "Wow." But everybody celebrates Thanksgiving. So we closed. So, could we look at what we're doing? And I had a dealer call me 2 weeks ago. He wanted my advice. He was going to add 10 additional service bays. I said, "Why?" He says, "I can't handle the amount of work that's coming in my service department." So my first question was, "What time you close?" 6. "Why don't you stay open until 9? He goes, "What?" He said, "I have to hire more people." I said, "Excuse me, when you build the 10 bays, aren't you going to hire more people?" "Well, yeah." "So why spend the money on the brick and mortar? Hire your people, extend the hours." And why is it in the service department that all the technicians have to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning? Why can't some come in at 8, some come in at 10, some come in at noon? Staggered throughout the days. I guarantee your technicians would love 4 10s. They work 4 days, they're off 3 days in a row. They're off either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And we rotate through the system. Every 5 weeks, they get off 5 days in a row. So there's ways out there that we can accommodate the customer without killing the service manager, because I don't want him working bell to bell, or without killing your technicians. But we got to remember, it's the customer that keeps us in business. And you know what? I believe CSI does not stand for customer Satisfaction Index. I believe it stands for Customer Supplies Income, because without that customer, we will not be in business tomorrow.